You are now the GM of your favorite basketball team. First order of business is which one of these free agent point guards do you want on your team? Um, we're going to go over a couple point guards that are free agents. We're not going to tell you who they are right away. Just kind of talk about their stats, how they are as a player, and kind of what they're going to bring to your team. And then maybe some contract stuff as well in terms of what you're going to have to pay them. And then you make the decision who you think would be better for your roster at this point, player A or player B, and then I'll let you know who these players are. And then you kind of go from there. Hopefully, take out some bias of uh, these players, like doing some of this research. I was like, oh, this guy's a really good defender. Then actually looking at the stats, he wasn't. Or hey, this guy's a really good shooter, and looking at the stats that he wasn't. So like there are bias like with players. So hopefully this kind of takes it out, and then you can just look at stats and make your decision like that. Like actual GMs have to do. They kind of got to take out a lot of that bias and just look at the stats and the numbers and say this is the guy that we need. So we'll dive right in. Player A. Player A is 28 years old. He is the younger of the two. Last healthy year, I should say, he averaged 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists. Um, he had a PER of 17, almost 18, which is about a third score or a third core piece on a team. He has a defensive rating of 112, which is about an average defender. He's actually known to be a bit like below average. So this is one of those first kind of examples of somebody that is thought to not be a good defender, but is actually a decent, at least average defender in the NBA. And he is only 28. He's 6'6", so he's quite big for a point guard. He's long wingspan. He's very athletic. So he still has a lot of room to grow on the defensive end. However, he is coming off of a pretty bad injury last year that could affect athleticism, but we really don't know for sure. But he has proven to be a really solid scorer. He is not a great shooter, even though people think that he is. He only shot 30% from three his last full season. But he can score, and he's respectable enough from out there where people have to cover him because he can make shots and he can actually get really hot if you let him and just kind of take over a game. He'd be a fantastic six man, probably one of the better ones in the NBA, or he could be a above average to good starting point guard that can absolutely carry some games and help your team get to the playoffs. So while his numbers look considerably better than the next guy, keep in mind he's a little bit younger. He's coming off of a major injury, and it is reported that he is asking for a longer term deal. He for sure wants more than 13 million, which he opted out of that contract this year. And it is reported that he is wanting well over $20 million a year, um, and 4 years or so. So imagine you're the GM of your team, take into account what he's asking for contract wise, longer term deal over 20 million, probably 25 to 28, let's say. He's entering his prime, but he's also coming off of a pretty bad injury. So he is a bit risky, but honestly, so is player B. So let's go ahead and dive into player B. Player B is a different kind of player. He's 35, so he's quite a bit older. Last full healthy season, 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. Um, he is a slightly below average defender, 114 defensive rating. However, in the past, he has been an above average defender slash like a very, very good defender. He is known to be a better defender than his stats would suggest. PER of 16 and a half, which again is slightly above average. However, he is an aging player. He's 35, but he is a proven leader and a proven winner. He's a league champion. He's a very clutch player. He would more than likely be a solid contributor as a starting point guard on a team that really wants to win a championship. Um, this guy has been much better in the past, and his numbers would indicate that he was last season. It's probably one of those like turn it on when he needs it kind of thing instead of doing it all year. But I'm telling you, this is the guy that you want if your time frame is right now and you are a championship contender this year. Another concern, just like player A, is health. He's missed quite a few games over the last couple of years, but if he can stay healthy, he can contribute to a winning team. Even if he isn't healthy and he misses a few games, he'd be a really good presence on a young team, kind of on the bench as a leader. Think what CP3 did for the Suns this year. That is like the ideal scenario for this guy. Is kind of Chris Paul, right? That's what you'd want bringing him in. Is that so? In terms of contracts, definitely a bit shorter term. He hasn't talked about what he's looking for, but expects to pay closer to $30 million. He's going to be a bit more expensive. But you can probably just do a 1 or 2 year contract. So if you have the money, this is a bit of a smaller free agent class, short of Kawhi, for like stars that are going to be demanding this kind of money. And this guy, like I said, you can probably give him a shorter contract, one, two, like three at the most, and around $30 million a year. So, yeah, those are the two players, A and B. Think about it for a second, make your decision, and then we're gonna dive into who they are, and then talk about them a little bit more. All right, here we go. Player A, Spencer Dinwiddie. You may have guessed this one. Um, Dinwiddie, however, in my opinion, is the more fun option here. He's mostly risk, but pretty high reward. He has kept improving throughout his entire career. He is a pure scorer. He's bigger. He has potential to grow and get better in his game. Now, the big concern with him, obviously, is injury. But if he is healthy and back to normal, there's no reason to think that he won't continue to get better and improve his game, because, well, that's what he's done throughout his entire career. He could easily give you 20 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists a game with a solid defender with room to improve. With Lowry, you know what you're getting, right? Pencil him in to be a leader, bring a championship leader to a roster, and almost guaranteed 15 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, and a pretty decent defender. And you can win with that. But Dinwiddie gives you that exciting take over a game, carry a team if I have to kind of vibe. Maybe even find his way closer to 25 points per game in the right situation. Like, he has like a higher ceiling, but again, he is going to cost a bit more money. Um, and if it doesn't work out, you're going to be kind of tied to him a little bit more. Um, but would be a good pickup for somebody that maybe looks at the higher potential. Um, Player B, Kyle Lowry. Now, Kyle Lowry, most people know what you're getting. Like I said, you're going to get a really solid player. Um, I I think both are good pickups. Lowry again is 35. He's a little older. His stats did slip a bit last year, but I mean, I think I said it in like his description, right? Is you think CP3. That's kind of what you're looking for with Kyle Lowry, right? He's not going to really take over a team, but he can be a really solid contributor on a team that wants to contend this year. He's going to be more expensive. He is. You're probably going to get Dinwiddie, like I said, 22 to 25 million. Lowry's going to be 30, maybe a little slightly above 30. But it'll be a shorter term deal. So you'd have that going for you. Um, so I don't know. It depends on the situation. I'm a huge Heat fan, so kind of thinking about that, they've actually been rumored to be in line with both of these guys. I personally, I think the Heat need a bit more scoring, so Dinwiddie, in my opinion, would be the better option. That'd be who I would look towards before Lowry. I don't think I'd really sign either of them, but between the two, I think probably Dinwiddie over Lowry for me, for my situation. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Who would you take for your team? Which one do you think is the better fit? Which one do you think is the better player? And did your idea change after you figured out who they are? Like, did you prefer one or the other before? So thanks for stopping in, guys. Leave a like. This is my second video of this series. I want to keep doing them. This one's pretty fun. Like I said, please leave a like if you enjoy the video, enjoy the content. It does help out a lot. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.